Yes? Or are you frozen? No, we're good.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Yeah, good from my side.
Okay. Your video is a little choppy, so maybe your signal there is not as strong as it could be, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Paripradukacharya Ashto Tarasati Srimad A.C. Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kunigiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mani Ki Jai Jaman Mani Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And thank you everyone for joining us for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, November 2nd in New York, and we are in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th chapter, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Tonight's starting verse is number 24. And as always, we're looking forward to hearing your comments and questions. And if someone would like to lead tonight's closing kirtan, please do. We'll be posting links later, which you can please share with your friends so that others may enjoy this series of classes. So happy you could be with us, Maharaj. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kendra Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And thank you to Meena Devi and to all the devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nabhi Hradari Hasatom Vasiyasya Punso Vijnana Shakti Rahamasamananta Shakti Rupam Vichitram Idam Pravindato Me Mari Rishishta Nigamasya Kiran Visargaha. The Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water station, I am born as the total universal energy. No lay in which the lotus steps. I am now engaged in manifesting his first energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. Therefore, pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. Report. Every person engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord in this material world is prone to so many material activities.
Hare Krishna, everyone. It seems that the bandwidth there was not sufficient to keep Maharaj connected there. So I will read a little bit and hopefully he'll get back on soon and a stronger internet connection. Every person engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord in this material world is prone to so many material activities. And if one is not strong enough to protect himself against the onslaught of material affection, he may be diverted from the spiritual energy. In the material creation, Brahma has to create all kinds of living entities with bodies suitable to their material conditions. Brahma wants to be protected by the Lord because he has to contact many, many vicious living entities. An ordinary Brahmana may fall from the Brahma Tejas, or the power of Brahminical excellence, due to his association with many fallen conditioned souls. Brahma, as the supermost Brahmana, is afraid of such a fall down, and therefore he prays to the Lord for protection. This is a warning for one and all in the spiritual advancement of life. Unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down from his spiritual position. Therefore, one has to pray constantly to the Lord for protection and the blessing to carry out one's duty. Lord Chaitanya also entrusted his missionary work to his devotees and assured them of his protection against the onslaught of material affection. The path of spiritual life, as stated in the Vedas, is stated in the Vedas to be like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness may at once create havoc and bloodshed, but one who is a completely surrendered soul, always seeking protection from the Lord in the discharge of his entrusted duties, has no fear of falling into material contamination.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Our introduction.
Oh, Hare Krishna. On again and then off, unfortunately. So let's go back and read the Sanskrit again and then the translation, and hopefully Maharaj might be able to connect again. Nabi hradari hasatom basi yasya punso Vijnana Shakti Raham Asamananta Shakti Rupam Vichitram Idam Asya Vivinvato Me Ma Virshishta Nigamasya Giram Visargaha. The Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water of devastation, I am born as the total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. Hare Krishna Maharaj, happy to see you.
Thank you. Om Jnana Tasya Nandrina Vakaya read this.
Perhaps Mercury is in retrograde today. We're having a difficult connection day. Hare Krishna. So let's see. I saw he tried connecting, it looked like with his phone, and even then he was not getting very strong connection there.
Maybe you can switch on the videos. Oh, yeah, that's good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We're frozen. I'm thinking maybe carry on with this verse, and I'll throw some comments in if connectivity allows.
Okay. All right. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistang Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantakam Vande Hang Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these are Brahma's prayers for creative energy, and we see two parallel tracks in his presentation of his prayers. One is he's actually praying for the creative energy, and two, he's praying to be protected from the material energy in the course of his creation, so that, as we were reading in the previous verses, he doesn't wrongly think himself the doer or the creator, and also to be protected from being distracted from his work and becoming overwhelmed by the material energy. So he's being very careful and very thorough in his presentation of prayers here. Like he says here, the Lord's potencies are innumerable. As he lies down in the water of devastation, I am born as the total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. So right there, I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies. He's not, nor does he want to be, under the illusion of himself being the doer. He understands that the safest position is to understand that everything is the Lord's energy. And he, like all of us, has been entrusted with some amount of potency in order to do the work that the Lord intends to get done. Brahma is entrusted with the work of creating the whole universe. We may not be so posted. Still, we have our posts, we have our duties, and we also need to pray to the Lord for protection. He continues, I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns. A while back, I remember asking Maharaj a question that how is it possible for someone who's surrounded by the material energy to not be deviated, especially in the contemporary viewpoint, someone who's grown up outside of a life of Krishna consciousness, being full of the Vedic hymns? How can such a person become free and remain free from the immense amounts of disinformation that we are bombarded with every day? And Maharaj replied that that's what we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam for. That's why we have our practice of chanting constant Hare Krishna mantra, to be in constant contact with some transcendental vibration to keep us in a safe place. I'm looking here. The Nabi Hradat, from the navel lake, Iha, in this millennium, Sataha, lying, Ambasi, in the water, Yasya, one whose, Pungsa, of the personality of Godhead, Vijnana, of the total universe. Interesting word for word definition of Vijnana there. Shakti, energy, Aham, I, Asam, was born, Ananta, unlimited, Shaktehe, of the powerful, Rupam, form, Vichitram, variegated, Idam, this, Asya, his, Vivrinvataha, manifesting, unto me, may not, Rirish, this is a difficult one for me, Ririshishta, vanish. That's the this word vanish, Ririshishta, becomes deviated in the running translation, that he doesn't want his ability, his own consciousness, his realization to vanish, because that's what generally happens. We get involved in some action, and often, more often than not, for some people, the mode of passion takes over, and when the mode of passion takes over, ririshishta, our pure consciousness vanishes, and we think, okay, it's us. But he's praying, let this not happen, please. Nigamasya, of the Vedas, Giram, of the sounds, Visarga, vibration. And please, Maharaj, if you're able and have a good connection, please pick up at any time.
Okay, well, there's two things. One is just a note about that Vijnana Shakti. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur glosses that by saying that Brahma has the form of the aggregate of the jivas, or the presiding deity of Buddhi Tattva. And that's why he's called Vijnana Shakti. He's got the total aggregate energy of all the living entities, or the total intelligence of for universal affairs. The other thing that struck me is that Srila Prabhupada says here that one has to be protected from the material energy. One has to pray constantly to the Lord. I came from a family where prayer was not really seen very much. It's not part of my natural inherited makeup to be prayerful. But here we see the importance of prayer. In one sense, prayer is for those who really feel themselves helpless or feel themselves dependent or in need. And so modern or ancient or any kind of materialistic person dispenses with prayer, because it's more important to have a positive attitude, to be on top of your game, to be capable and enthusiastic. That's successless, and prayer is sort of old hat. It's quite, years began to present the total intelligence for creators unlimited, including the ability to move. He has Maya Shakti, which is independently doing her job and trying. Sorry, I got thrown again. The Ananta Shakti, the Maya Shakti of the Lord is trying to throw everyone off course. And so we really need to depend on Krishna and develop, if we don't already have it, that sense that I need to call out to Krishna. Even this Hare Krishna is not just a mantra, but it's a prayer. Please help on my own. My capability is limited, and I may be overthrown. So you please protect me. Krishna, Krishna, Pahima. Those were my comments.
Oh, thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Yeah, unfortunately your connection is kind of weak, but there's a question here from Murari Prabhu. He says, the Lord is relying on fallible living entities for his work to get done. So what happens if they fail?
Well, Krishna always has a backup plan, of course, but he's not relying on us. He's engaging us. Krishna Prabhupada said one time, Krishna doesn't rise to all Japatis. He can create 1 million servitors like you in the moment, but he's kindly giving us an opportunity to be engaged in his service. So Krishna's not dependent on anyone to get the work done. Even we find that when no suitable person to serve Brahma, Krishna himself can go over the pole. So he doesn't need whoever this is in any given millennium. He can do it all himself, but he gives us the opportunity.
Hare Krishna. And from Saraswati, as parents are entrusted with a responsibility of raising children in bhakti, I have seen that sometimes their children becomes put off with bhakti because they feel their parents were, in the end, negligent and didn't really care for them, since they were too engrossed in devotional practice to a point the children felt unloved. Also, some children saw the hypocrisy of their parents and their pretense of bhakti, which totally also turned them off from bhakti. It's hard to find the correct balance as parents, I think.
Well, the first thing is that pretense is supposed to be kicked out. It's true, children are good at detecting hypocrisy, pretense, and not very much appreciated. So we don't want to be hypocritical. It's not like how much hypocrisy is the right balance. Hypocrisy is meant to be kicked out. But as far as negligence and so on, it's not that we should be so busy doing bhakti that children are neglected. Rather, taking care of children should be done as a function of bhakti. One time, Prabhupada wrote to one woman disciple, that your children are your deities. Now, I don't think, we're going to put them on the altar and do puja, but on one side, he was saying, don't take on deity worship because you've got other things to do. How are you going to manage deity worship when you're busy with changing diapers and all of that kind of stuff? On the other hand, he was, as far as I understand, that our attention should go there. Not that, well, I have children, but they're kind of an obstacle to bhakti. Family and children are impediments to devotional service. So I'll sort of give it a half-hearted effort. But it's a big project for children to become Krishna conscious, or to raise the children in such a way that they become Krishna conscious. So negligence is not called for. The attention should be there. Also, on another note, some people are just better at being parents. This I heard from one set of parents, that they just have more gift for raising children, taking care of children, and so on. They may be devotees, we may have devotees, they're just not all that great parents. And others who may be advanced in devotional service, but they're really good at parenting. So there can be a false ascribing of shortcoming to bhakti, that if weren't just parents, well, that's being busy, and no, maybe just because you're a great parent, you were given the gift of being the ideal or ideal mother. Do okay, or maybe a little less. But then by false cause hypothesis, we say, oh, that was due to your bhakti. No, if it hadn't been bhakti, it would have been work, it would have been football, or it would have been whatever else it was that I might have been interested if weren't engaged in.
Hare Krishna. Well, we lost Maharaj again, unfortunately. I think he'll try to come back, hopefully.
I came back. I got kicked off of too much bhakti.
No, I couldn't hear.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
I got kicked off because of too much bhakti.
Ah,
Yeah, I got kicked off because of too much. I think that's all I had to say.
No, they can't hear me.
is there any more?
So I
that
think you
want?
should carry on.
Okay.
No, that was it.
Okay.
And I'd suggest that you carry things forward here. And again, if possible, I'll throw something in, but I'm unreliable today.
Hare Krishna. All right. When I was reading this verse, I was seeing so much practical information Prabhupada's giving us here. For every, he says, every person engaged in the transcendental loving service is prone to many material activities. So that to me, that seems to, he's saying that just by virtue of being in contact with the material energy, you have to, there's so many, it's a very complicated world to be in. And yes, you may have the benefit of some transcendental knowledge. At the same time, there's a tremendously intricate network of material actions and reactions that it's very difficult to navigate unless at every moment, like as Prabhupada and Maharaj are saying, that one has an attitude of constant prayer for protection. He says in the first sentence, if one is not strong enough to protect himself against the onslaught of material affection, he may be diverted from the spiritual energy. Well, right there, it makes me wonder, well, who's strong enough to protect himself against the onslaught of material? If even Lord Brahma has the sense to have such a prayerful and humble attitude, who's really strong enough to protect himself? I really don't imagine that any conditioned living entity is, or any living entity at all. And Prabhupada outlines Brahma's own set of responsibilities in the material creation. Brahma has to create all kinds of living entities with bodies suitable to their material condition. So he's creating them. It's not that he just has to meet them at work or see them in the elevator or pass them on the street. He has to create them. and he has to do it well. He has to do it convincingly, so that everyone has their God-given place in the creation to execute to the best of their ability their own desires, and also concomitant with that to reform them somehow, so that they can also have the chance to get free from all those desires, free from all the material conditioning. But as we see in our daily lives, it's a broad spectrum of consciousness out there, and that's just within the human species. What to speak of all the other species? It can be very mind-blowing to contemplate the vast sheer numbers of living entities that there are. Just, you see so many insects every day and you wonder what they're thinking, if anything. And same thing with some human beings. But Brahma has to create them. So then he says, an ordinary Brahmana may fall from the Brahma Tejas, or the power of Brahminical excellence, due to his association with many fallen conditioned souls. And if Maharaj might want to speak to this point also, it reminds me how Prabhupada himself really wanted his devotees to make pilgrimage every year and have a chance to immerse themselves in a pure spiritual atmosphere in the Holy Dham, so that during the course of their, you could say, material activities in preaching, they wouldn't be completely submerged in just dealing with all the conditioned living entities. It wouldn't rub off on them. Just from my own point of view, I know I can very easily be influenced by others. And so it's very helpful, as we have experienced, to have this nightly Srimad Bhagavatam reading with Maharaj, where we can have that, have the opportunity to become a little protected from the other 23 hours of material contact. So Brahma is the supermost Brahmana is afraid of such a fall down, and therefore he prays to the Lord for protection. This is a warning for one and all in the spiritual advancement of life. Unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down from his spiritual position. Therefore, one has to pray constantly to the Lord for protection and the blessing to carry out one's duty. I don't have the specific reference for this. Perhaps Maharaj does, but Prabhupada was standing before some deities and praying, and one of his servants asked him, Prabhupada, I see you standing before the deities every day, and I'm wondering what it is that you pray for. And Prabhupada said, I'm praying that I may not fall down. And the natural inclination of the person was to say, well, Prabhupada, you're such a great devotee. How could you fall down? Well, it's because I'm always praying to not fall down. That's why I don't fall down. So it's a lesson, as he says in this purport, to one and all, a warning for one and all, because it is so easy to get contaminated, diverted, overwhelmed by the mode of passion that permeates this material world. It might make us think, oh, we're okay now. We have progressed sufficiently. We are now strong enough to protect ourselves against the onslaught of material affection. Not the safest place is to think that you're not strong enough. Lord Chaitanya also entrusted his missionary work to his devotees and assured them of his protection against the onslaught of material affection. The path of spiritual life is stated in the Vedas to be like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness may at once create havoc and bloodshed, but one who is a completely surrendered soul, always seeking protection, has no fear. Maharaj, is there anything further that you'd want to say about this?
That's Katha Upanishad, the path of spiritual realization is like the razor's edge. And therefore one has to be attentive. Prabhupada makes that point. Attentive. And well, nothing new there, that even the greatest living entity is dependent, because Mama Maya Duratya, Maya is so strong. Yeah, you made the points that needed to be made.
Yeah.
There was some question.
Oh yeah,
Sarah.
Oh, there's a couple things in the chat here. I'll see here. Gurudas Prabhu says, Dandavats Maharaj, obeisances to the devotees. What does Lord Brahma mean when he says, quote, I am born as the total universal energy, and at the same time he says, I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies. He says, Gurudas says, I do not doubt the validity of these statements, but they seem over the head of my feeble intelligence.
Well, as we mentioned before, this total material, let's see how Prabhupada puts it. Use the total universal energy, or born from the total universal energy. So that's Vijnana Shakti. That Brahma, Vishnu says, represents the aggregate of all the jivas, or the intelligence. How does we put it? The Buddhi Tattva, presiding deity of Buddhi Tattva, which means intelligence. So that's Lord Brahma's position, total energy of intelligence, especially, is or the total energy of human capability. So that's, but he's busy manifesting the cosmic manifestation that belongs to Ananta Shakti, the person who has unlimited energy. So Vivrinvataha, where's that? Rupam Vichitram Idamasya Vivrinvato Me. I'm busy manifesting the Vichitra, variegated form of this material world, according to my intelligence, according to the power that has been invested in me. But I'm dependent on Ananta Shakti, the personality of Godhead, whose energy is unlimited. My energy is not unlimited. I've got some capability, but I have a fall down potency. I can be deviated. That's, as you mentioned, Brahma's big concern. I may be deviated from the Vedic sound. Nigamasya Giram Visarga. I can be deviated. My duty is there in the Vedas, but I can be deviated. I can start to become too creative, over intelligent, and start improvising my own ideas and deviate from my prescribed duty. I can be, or on the practical side, I can be attracted by intoxicants, illusioned by intoxicants, gambling, meat eating, sex, or in so many ways, pride in my position, my little post. So one has to depend and pray to the Ananta Shakti, the unlimited personality of Godhead. Krishna, Krishna, Rakshamam, Krishna, Krishna, Pahima. Please protect me, please protect
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. I also just wanted to note how self-aware Brahma is in this prayer. He's completely aware of his position in the scheme of things. It's quite amazing if you think about it. How he's expressing the prayer, but also he's completely. I can't think of better words than this, unfortunately. But it seems like he's completely self-aware of his place in this scheme of things.
Yeah, really. He's powerful. He's got practically boundless capability, and yet he knows that, how big am I, and how prone am I to be overwhelmed by illusion. So he knows that I have to depend on Ananta Shakti and the personality of God. And he's already, and as Kendra Prabhu said, there's two sides to it. On the one side, he knows I have to pray to the Lord for protection. And the other side, he knows I have to pray to the Lord if I want to get anything done. If I want to manifest these living entities and the structure of the universe and all the things that I'm supposed to do, I can't do that by my own power. I have to depend on Krishna. Prabhupada also on the Jaladuta was praying to Krishna, you make me a success or a failure, up to you. I do my part, but really, it's in your hand what will come of it.
Thank you, Maharaj, and glad to hear this part of the Zoom that Krishna is allowing to happen.
Saraswati says, when an advanced devotee falls away from bhakti, whether they are in the sannyas or any other order, I hear so many excuses they give, like they were affected by eating food from a devotee with contaminated mentality, or I should have put them on should not have put them on a pedestal, etc. But isn't it better to admit the fall down and try to get back up, or do we need to analyze why they fell?
Well, of course, it's not for us to be analyzing or, make it the topic of our kata, why this one fell, why that one fell, why this one will probably fall next, why that one, and so on. But more profitably, one should look within oneself and see one's own shortcomings. There's nothing wrong if one thinks that, well, because of this, because of that, because I was indiscriminate in eating, or because I allowed myself to be put on a pedestal and accepted excessive worship, or because of carelessness and feminine association, or whatever it is. No harm in that, but then it's not just that, it's me. There are people who don't fall down. So I have to take the responsibility and not just blame it or seek to place the blame elsewhere. The details may be there that because of this, because of that. We don't want to just use that as a device for deflecting our own responsibility in the matter. I was born under the tail of the scorpion, and therefore, it follows that this and that and this and that. We have to accept our own role in the matter, our own shortcoming.
I think they're correct. If you want to tell the video.
Change.
No, video.
Was there something else from your side, Maharaj?
That's it for now.
Okay. Well, it's 7:48. I'm looking at the time. I'm also looking at the next verse. It's very full purport. We could start it and see how far we get, unless there's anything else. I don't see any hands up. So Savadabra Karuno Bhagavan Vividha Prema Smitena Nayanam Buruham Vijimbhan Utthaya Vishva Vijayaya Chano Vishadam Madhvya Panayatat Purusha Purana. The Lord, who is supreme and is the oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. Purport. The Lord is ever increasingly merciful upon the fallen souls of this material world. The whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is meant for that purpose. The Lord expands himself into many personalities who are either self-expansions or separated expansions. The personalities of the individual souls are his separated expansions, whereas the self-expansions are the Lord himself. These self-expansions are predominators, and the separated expansions are predominated for reciprocation of transcendental bliss with the supreme form of bliss and knowledge. Liberated souls can join in this blissful reciprocation of predominator and predominated without materially concocted ideas. The typical example of such a transcendental exchange between the predominator and the predominated is the Lord's Rasa Lila with the gopis. The gopis are predominated expansions of the internal potency, and therefore the Lord's participation in the Rasa Lila dance is never to be considered like the mundane relationship of man and woman. It is rather the highest perfectional stage of the exchange of feelings between the Lord and the living entities. The Lord gives the fallen souls the chance for this highest perfection of life. Lord Brahma is entrusted with the management of the complete cosmic show, and therefore he prays that the Lord bestow his blessings upon him so that he may execute its purpose.
The Antabra Karuna Bhagavan Viridha Prema Smitena. The Lord, the Brahma is appealing to Krishna, who is Antabra Karuna, unlimitedly merciful. It's not just that a mechanical thing here. I'm small, you're big, please protect me. But it's also you're compassionate. you're merciful. You exchange with your devotees. You have love. Vividha prema smitena. Vividha Prabhupada, in the word for it's excessive. It's excessive in the Indian sense of the term. It means abundant, abundant prema. Smitena, by smiling, you bestow abundant affection and love. That's you have lotus eyes, you have this wonderful form, you have so many exalted qualities and unlimited energy, and you have genuine love for your devotee. So Brahma's looking toward that also. And Madhvya Gira Apanayatat Purusha Purana. By his sweet words, may he remove the influence of material energy, or remove our dejection, Vishada. Arjuna Vishad, Arjun's dejected at Kurukshetra, and by the Prahasaniva Parta, by the slightly smiling Lord who gives him instructions, Arjuna is freed from dejection. In prescribed duty, that may kick in, that we look at it and say, too much, and we become morose. I can't do this. It's whatever. Just go into ignorance, really, and vishada, morose dejection. And but one can be freed, and the whole world is suffering from that. This depression was the usual clinical term. So many people are clinically depressed, and so we have all of these medications, antidepressants. But the world is depressing. The world is a cause for dejection in the absence of Krishna, in the absence of a relationship with Krishna. Our life is depressing. We have every reason to be dejected. And especially when you look at what we're up against. So Brahma says, I'm dependent on your affection, I'm dependent on your love. Prabhupada makes a distinction here, the self-expansions and the separated expansions. That's Swamsa and Vibhinamsa. Swamsa means the Lord's plenary portions, as Prabhupada would say. The personal expansions of the Lord himself. And Vibhina Amsha, two kinds of Amshas, Swamsa and Vibhina Amsha. Vibhina means separated, so the tiny living entities. Tiny living entities are predominated, and the Lord is the predominator. And in that regard, Prabhupada touches upon the rasa dance, as Prabhupada says, the typical manifestation of internal exchanges between the predominating Lord and the predominated living entity. So he's giving us some guidance about what these things are about. Anything else?
I'm glad you were able to rejoin the class, Mars. The connection is much, much better. You've removed our dejection by appearing. I was thinking how this particular verse in deity worship is chanted to awaken the deities every morning of every day. So it's just such a nice meditation. And also the sentence he puts right in the middle of the purport, where he says, the liberated souls can join in this blissful reciprocation of predominator and predominated without materially concocted ideas. So it's like saying anyone, can join this, can join the party if they're willing to put aside their own mental obstacles.
Yeah. The liberated souls can join in these. It's, yes, wonderful. Should we have kirtan?
No,
nice one. Was someone
doesn't matter to me.
Go ahead.
Namo Visuddhaya Krishna Stavridation Tesata Dasgacham. To be down in many times of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Parivrata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Nama Charja Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, James Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dana, Jayādvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Gaur, jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Jagannath Puri ki jai, Gangamayi ki jai, Jamunamayi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you again to all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayādvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Vivo. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Bible.
Assemble devotees.